What's up everyone? Today is a new day. For myself, today is a big day. Some of you may not think that what's about to happen is that much of a big deal. However, for myself, in the grand scheme of things, today and what's going to happen in the next few hours is a big thing for how my well-being and I guess progress and prognosis to an extent would be expected throughout my coming months in my bone marrow transplant. So for anyone new here to this channel or who doesn't know my story, basically I've gone over this year, I've been diagnosed with cancer twice. This year and last year I've been given 2 rounds of chemotherapy in preparation for a bone marrow transplant, which is happening on the 6th of March, which is 3.5 weeks away. I haven't been given chemotherapy since the 7th of January, so that's a bit over a month ago. Because of that, I've recovered from that period and I am now well enough to partake in a weight-based training protocol to build myself up in preparation for the coming months with the bone marrow bone marrow transplant. So the reason I'm doing it is because throughout the 2 months of chemotherapy I had, if you've known me, you'd see that I've lost quite a lot of weight, and if you've watched the previous episodes, you would have been able to see that firsthand, how the body degenerated with the lack of food and I guess general muscular stimulation. It is expected that when I go back into chemotherapy for my bone marrow transplant in a month or 3 weeks, I'm going to suffer the general side effects, which are lack of appetite, nausea, vomiting, that sort of stuff, which is the main cause of my weight loss in the previous 2 to 3 months. Due to me going to the gym for a few years prior to that, basically on and off, I started the gym at the start of 2012. It's now 2016, but I've had probably like a year off in total, going on and off due to cancer treatment, etc., that sort of stuff. So the weight I lost was mainly muscle, getting down from 90 to 75, and having competed in a bodybuilding physique show 3 months prior to diagnosis, looking like this. It's pretty easy to see throughout my pictures on Instagram and Facebook that the majority of the weight I lost was in muscle stores and not in fat stores to an extent. So I got down to 75 kilograms. I'm not sure how much that is in pounds, probably like 160. I'm now currently weighing 79.3, which I weighed myself this morning. So you would expect that 4 kilograms in weight would be, it most likely wouldn't be regained muscle because I haven't had any stimulation to the muscle cells besides walking and general day-to-day stuff. So you'd expect that to be adipose fat tissue or water weight or glycogen, or something I might have lost throughout I guess the starving duration or the fasting times where I couldn't eat. With the loss of appetite and whatnot in hospital, I went into hospital with a fever, which I've documented and I've already placed a video here on YouTube about. So there was a period of 65 hours which I didn't eat a single thing, purely because just the lack of appetite. Even though my body was starving, my mind didn't say, "You're hungry, eat something." So it was 65 hours, and even after that period I was only able to eat like little tiny crackers. So I am going back to the gym today to ease into a weight-based protocol. In reality, the workout or the time spent in the gym would probably be in excess of 2 hours, because I've got lots of stuff to do in regards to mobility, stretching, gauging how I'm going to be able to progress through these next 3 weeks. Because when I go back to Melbourne to undergo the bone marrow transplant, I'll have to stop training again because I'll be too unwell. That's the introduction, what we're doing. I am going to go into the workouts, the nutrition, the supplementation, so just give me a second. I'm just going to talk about how my body's reacted to the lack of training and the lack of eating, mainly in the loss of muscle. my current physique and shape is something that's a shadow of its previous self. It's obviously it's been degenerating and it's wasted away due to these factors. So I'm just going to show you like the amount of atrophy, which for those who don't know, it's the amount of muscle loss, the degeneration I've experienced. So just to show you an example, my arm, which was never overly big, I'm not sure how much it is now. It's probably like 14 to 15 inches. Show how much left room there is. Like that's, obviously there's loose skin on everyone, but however that's skin that was previously stretched to an extent and now it's back to normal. Obviously a lack of muscle that previously was there. 10 to 12%. If I was to show you a quick caliper test on my abdominal area, you can see that isn't that much at all. So that's the atrophy I've experienced over the last 2 to 3 months. So this day's kind of crept up on me. I always wanted to do it again to build myself up. But the thing that was holding me back was my blood levels. So mainly so the hemoglobin, and for those who don't know, it's the part of the red blood cells which carry the oxygen around the body. So anyone with a deprived or depleted hemoglobin, such as myself due to chemotherapy, or if you're anemic, anything like that, low iron, that sort of stuff, they get out of breath very easily because there's less hemoglobin red cells to carry around oxygen around the body. For instance, myself, I'm resting right now and talking, and my heart rate's probably close to 100. I've discussed this sort of stuff with a few people who I know through social media, specifically Chris Lovato. I had a quick chat with him about how he's done his recomposition, what he did in regards to workouts and nutrition and whatnot. I'll be going a bit further into, because my recomposition for my body is a much shorter duration than someone who's had months off or a year off and is able to follow this program or protocol for an extended amount of months, whereas for me it's this 3 weeks. So I'm just going to go over the workouts I'm going to be doing over the next 3 weeks. They most likely will change, bringing in more volume and different exercises as we progress. However, the first workout is a full body workout. I'm going to go over the exercises and what I'll be doing pre and post training, just to ensure my mobility and my stretching, my flexibility is all good. Becoming injured in this sort of state is not ideal. At least 1 week before moving into a different split. So full body obviously speaks for itself. It's upper and lower on the same day. Depending how I recover and how the progress goes from those workouts and the recovery periods, I'll be moving into upper, lower, adding in the accessory points like carbs and abdominals, alternating on those days as well. Prior to training, I'm going to be doing a lot of mobility stuff. Side leg drops, side leg kicks, scorpion kicks, hip adduction, abduction. I'll foam roll my back. I'll do some foam rolling on my legs. I'll stretch out my lats. I'll do some side kicks, front kicks, hip hinges, bodyweight squats, and working my hip as a hinge. This is all prior to training. And the majority of those are dynamic stretches, not static stretches. So after the warm-up, so for the first couple of sessions, it's full body. And I've got a whole list of exercises which I'll be doing 3 sets, 15 reps each set. On the 15 rep, reaching 80% of my potential. You would obviously assume that since I've had this time off and I've had the chemotherapy, lost the muscle, etc., that I would have a severe lack of strength. So I'm going to spend probably 10 minutes gauging what my actual strength is per exercise before even beginning the first set. So the first exercise is a squat. We would have warmed up with the bodyweight squats already, so I'll probably do a squat or a leg press variation to work the lower body first of all. Keep in mind, I did come back from Melbourne just 2 days ago, and 3 days ago I had a bone marrow biopsy, so I'm actually missing a tiny portion of my hip because I take it out for testing. I'll even show you like the scar if you can see it. It's like that tiny little dot there, doesn't look like much. However, they put a big needle into it, into my body, and pulled out some hip to test it for my bone marrow. Then I'm going to do a hip hinge movement. For example, I'll be doing most likely deadlifts, stiff legs, most likely even with dumbbell. I'll be moving into an OHP, overhead press for shoulders, most likely with a barbell. You'll see all of this workout in the next video that comes out. Next, moving to a horizontal row, which at this stage I'm going to be using a hammer strength machine, single armed. Then a horizontal press. I'm still going to figure out if I'm doing a slightly inclined press or a flat dumbbell, flat barbell press. So all this is based around hypertrophy, gaining the most, hypertrophy, which is muscle gain, and at the same time gaining as much weight as I can whilst being sensible in the shortest amount of time. 3 weeks is not a very long time for any weight-based protocol. Anyway, I'll go back to that. Horizontal press, then we've got a vertical pull down, so I'm leaning towards a close grip, and then I'm going to move into arms. I'm going to do triceps, so a tricep push down movement, biceps, which is just a bicep barbell curl, and then moving into abs and calves as the accessories for today. So that's the workout I'm doing today and most likely for the coming days. I'm expecting that since this is the first weight training I've done in 2 months, that I'm going to receive quite severe DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, because of this, which is why I wouldn't never train till failure on one of these early periods, if not at all in this next 3 weeks, because of that. Nutritionally, I don't have a set caloric goal, so we're mainly tracking protein intake. All the other foods would mostly be whole foods with a high caloric density. And I don't think I explained it before, but the reason I'm doing that is because when I am, I guess, starving again, I'm most likely going to experience the lack of appetite and the nausea and that sort of stuff back in Melbourne getting the transplant. It's so that when I do experience the lack of appetite, my body has sufficient stores to eat into, such as the muscle stores once again, and the very little superficial or peripheral, I guess, fat stores I have on my body. As you saw before, I don't have that much fat to give up. So I would much rather have a foundation of muscle for my body to eat into for its energy intake, rather than it eating it into my vital fat stores, like, I don't know if it does my visceral fat stores, like the internal fats in my body. But logically, you'd think the more muscular, healthy looking someone is prior to treatment, the better their prognosis is for that treatment in question. Supplementation, I'm going to only be using 2 supplements throughout this 3-week period, being creatine. I'll take 5 grams daily, and it doesn't matter what time you take your creatine. I think there's a big misconception of when you have to take it, but any time of day, 5 grams daily is sufficient, and monohydrate as well. And other than that, it'll be whey protein, which will be in the form of post-workout shakes, which I don't usually have. Like in my comp prep, I never had post-workout shakes. I know some people may be questioning why, like how I'm doing it, why I'm doing it, but just have to reiterate that I'm doing it safely. Like, I know my limits. If I push myself too hard, or if I know that one thing is too much for my capabilities, obviously I'll stop. And this last thing doesn't even need to be said, that the future 3 weeks, much like my whole other duration of training, is going to be done naturally without the use of vitamin S, if that makes sense. I've posted quite a few times about the subject of vitamin S and how people suspect my usage of it, purely because of the transformation I experienced over the 2014-2015 period. However, I'll be documenting most of this workout protocol whilst I'm here, and I predict that I'm going to put on, or I hope to put on, around 5 kilograms in 3 weeks. That may sound far-fetched, and I wouldn't expect it all to be muscle, but we'll find out. It's mainly going to be glycogen, water, that sort of stuff, because of the drastic change of lifestyle from what I'm basically pretty sedentary right now. My strength gain, I'm not sure how I'm going to gauge it. I would assume it's going to be very weak, and I would expect it to probably grow slightly over the next 3 weeks until I stop again. If you have any questions on what I'm going to be doing, or have any suggestions or anything you just want to say, drop a comment down below and I will, consider it. You'll most likely see some sort of input in regards to me talking about it in the next video or the coming videos over the next 3 week period. If you haven't already and you are interested, you can subscribe and follow this journey. I will be documenting all of my bone marrow transplant treatment, progress, recovery, and that sort of stuff. And then when I'm recovered from that, a very similar thing like this. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you what my body looks like. Unfortunately, I am too tall to be able to see my body, my full body in this camera frame, so I am going to have to do my top half and then show my bottom half just to show what I currently look like. And I'll be taking pictures, videos, etc. to document my weight gain and the progress that I've had over the 3 week period, just to compare and to show you all how it's all progressing really. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm excited for what the next 3 weeks are going to bring in regards to my physical transformation, and I hope you are too. Once again, you are very welcome to like, share, comment, subscribe to this channel if you want to follow this journey. I will be videoing the workout in the next hour, and that will be the next video that comes out on this channel. And I'll be giving you updates, progress shots, progress videos and that sort of stuff as it comes. If you haven't already as well, you're welcome to follow my other social media stuff, which is Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat and Twitter, and of course YouTube here, as I'll be posting probably much more content in regards to pictures and progress shots on Instagram and Facebook than here. Obviously this is a video content instead of pictures. I use my Snapchat for a bit more of a personal view into what I do daily and just a bit more of a chilled aspect rather than a bit more of my formal stuff on Instagram and Facebook. And Twitter is just a reflection of my Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. I put all of my stuff onto there. So once again, thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in the next video. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I know it's a lot of information to digest, but I just thought I would document and tell everyone what I've done, because hopefully in a few years I can look back to this or refer people to this video in regards to what sort of training I did when I stopped treatment. I got an hour left into my workout. I am fully prepared. I need to get probably some more food into me, and then I will see you all in the next video for the first episode of my body recomposition training. Thank you once again. Have a good day. I'm alive, and it feels like